Well, before I start today, the couple of things that I just want to mention to you guys. First is that on June the 5th, Jana and I will be celebrating our 25th anniversary, believe it or not. Most of the credit goes to me, but I gutted it out. Anyway, we're going to get away on vacation, just the two of us, and then the kids are going to join us. And second leads me to the second part. And as while we're away, Phil Scowden is going to be here doing a series called Guardrails. And I'm getting a little bit uncomfortable about how excited some of you are when I tell you that Phil is coming, okay? I want you to like Phil, just not too much. Third, in order to avoid a really terrible summer slump, which often happens, I mentioned I think a week or so ago, we definitely need every single one of us here to give as generously and consistently as we can, so we can avoid that, because that's just not good. All right, how would you complete this sentence? My aim in life is what? My aim in life is. What word or phrase would you use to explain or express what you feel your purpose in life is? Or let me put it to you this way. If a neutral person were to simply observe you for a few weeks, seeing how you live your life day in and day out, what would they conclude your aim in life to be? For some people, their aim in life is to be successful. For others, it's just, I want to be happy. That's what drives them. That's the most important thing. That's their aim in life. For others, maybe it's to be a great parent or to achieve recognition or fame. What is your aim in life? You know, how you answer that question is very important, because it reveals what they call your dominant life principle. And everyone has a dominant life principle, whether they're kind of aware of it or not. Your dominant life principle is simply what's most important to you. It's the primary determining factor in the choices and decisions that you make. For instance, if my dominant life principle is happiness, then I will consistently make decisions in favor of the things that I think will make me happy, that I will enjoy, that will benefit me the most. If my dominant life principle is success, then I'm going to make choices that will move me toward higher achievement in whatever area it is that I want to achieve success in. So what is your dominant life principle? Another way to look at it would be to consider, what if you could be known for any one thing, what would it be? What would you like to be known for? Like for Tom Brady, what's he known for? Well, being a great Super Bowl winning quarterback. Mother Teresa, what's she known for? Well, her compassion and concern for the poor and discarded people in India. How about Mark Zuckerberg? Well, he was known for something, and now this is what he doesn't want to be known for. But what do you want to be known for? You want to be known as a person who was very successful, a person who's gifted in something, a great athlete, really successful in business, provided for your family? What would it be? Well, today we're going to talk about one thing that all of us would do well to be known for, what God says should be the dominant life principle of every person who calls themselves a Christ follower, and it's found in 1 Corinthians 14:1. In the Living Bible, it simply says, let love be your greatest aim. Let love be your greatest aim. Well, today we are in the second to the last part of our series on building better relationships, and I was going to do a little talk on words that hurt and words that heal, but I'm going to push that back to the summer, and instead I want to give you just a personal slant on let love be your greatest aim. And then we're going to have a few seeker stories after this short little talk. Now, speaking of stories, here's one of Jesus' most famous ones. He said, a man was going from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. Well, a priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So to a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, he passed by on the other side. You know, about 15 years ago, I would say I was on the verge of burnout more than I ever have been in my life. I was carrying a very heavy load of ministry, preparing lots of messages, 2 and 3 services, leading groups, meeting with ministry leaders, music rehearsals, solving lots and lots of different problems, nagging financial shortages, and trying to figure out some way we could build a bigger building. I mean, the pace of my life and the demands on it were just absolutely wearing me thin. And I slowly began to realize that this busyness and this demanding schedule were actually working against me being a loving, kind, and caring person. I think I was becoming sort of like the priest and the Levite in the story of the Good Samaritan. Now, we all know what a priest is. Well, the Levite was also a person who worked in the temple. And I am of the opinion that the priest and the Levite were kind and compassionate people. I mean, most religious professionals are, or at least were at one time. But something often happens to religious professionals that can happen to the rest of us. And that is, as we plunge into our careers, we start raising families, and amid the mounting bills and escalating responsibilities and overcrowding schedules, and life gets faster and faster and faster. Before you know it, many of us are living in what might be called crisis mode. Our lives are dominated by the struggle to keep all of our balls in the air and all of our plates spinning. And I guess it goes without saying that people who are trying to survive crisis mode living, people on the verge of burnout, are not usually very loving. They're not as loving a person as they should be, or as they would like to be. And life does that for us. And pretty soon we get to the it's every man for himself philosophy. And then we don't really care as much about other people as we should. And knowing the demands and pressures associated with church work, I can almost hear the priest and Levite sort of saying to themselves as they step over this unconscious mugged traveler, like, hey, buddy, you think you've got problems. I've got a sermon to prepare, a wedding to perform, and 3 more meetings before sundown. At least you're done for the day, And 15 years ago, I would have to admit that due to my burnout, like the priest and the Levite, I did my share of passing by on the other side of the road. I'm not proud to admit it. And it wasn't that I disliked people. It was just that I had become sort of numbed out. And in reality, was feeling more indifferent toward the needs and hurts of people than I had before. And it really began to wear on me. And it made me question, what am I even doing in ministry if I can't feel love for other people? How can I even call myself a Christian? When my heart feels so shriveled up. And it sent me to a time of deep reflection and praying, and asked God to renew my spirit and to help me find a healthier way to live, where I could become a more loving person rather than a decreasingly loving person. Well, I finally concluded what's found in Matthew chapter 22. That had to be my focus. It's when someone came to Jesus and they asked him, Lord, what's it really all about? If you could put it in a nutshell, what's the most important thing in life? And you remember Jesus' response. He said, well, if you want the short version, I can cut right to the core. The summary of what life is all about is this: love God and love your neighbor in the same way that you love yourself. Loving God, loving others, loving yourself, together, that constitutes what Jesus says is life's greatest aim. Well, today we got some seeker stories, and the first one is going to feature someone that most of you know. Let's hear it for Sarah Steelman. Come on up, Sarah. Now, Sarah just got back from a 10-day trip to Washington, D.C. with a busload of 10-year-olds. So how did that go?
It was awesome. It was a 2-day drive out, and then we had 6 days of touring different sites, and then 2-day drive in the bus back. And the 2 days back were longer than the other 8 days combined. But we had a great time. I have a whole nother perspective of our country and what it took to found, and I am a very proud American right now. So
yeah, I see your shirt that you got up there. Well, to set up what Sarah's going to tell you, I need to give you a little background. Janice folks, they're going to be here next week, and most of you have met them from time to time, and they decided that they wanted to send our church during the 2018 a check every month for $200 that they wanted us to use to touch the lives of people outside of our church in just whatever different ways that we could. They send a check once a month. And Sarah was one of the first people to step up and say, hey, I want to do that. I know of a situation could really make a difference. And so today she's going to tell you what happened.
So when Russ first talked about how we were going to be able to implement this little program, I kind of was like, yeah, I think I want to do that. I'll do it with the kids. I'll wait till the summertime when we're out of school and life's a little slower and we could, pay for someone's groceries or the family behind us in line through a drive-through or something like that. Just not anything super personal, but, like a fun thing to do with the kids. And then I went to work one day. I mean, I work here, but I also work at Anthony's TV and Appliance in Midwest City. And a coworker shared a story with me about her daughter, who has 3 small kids under the age of 4, had just been kicked out of the rent house that she rented from her own father. There was raw sewage under the home. She had been complaining to him to get it fixed, and his solution was to just kick her out. So she had nowhere to go. She is bipolar, so she has trouble holding a full-time job in like a regular environment. And with the 3 kids, she's a single mom. It was just a really bad situation. And they did not know what they were going to do. They were trying to work out a apartment right next to her mother, my coworker, so that way she could help out with the boys, but securing the $200 deposit that was required to get that apartment settled just was out of their realm of budget. There just was never going to happen. And wow, it was just perfect the way it worked out that I happened to know someone who was giving $200 away. And so I talked to Russ and asked him if I could I know I said summer, but can you kind of bump me up to the top of the list? Do you mind? And he said, absolutely. And so I was able to walk in and give her this money, and she, fell apart. My heart broke for her. I can't imagine struggling the way they were. Your daughter and your 3 grandsons that have nowhere to go and don't know what you're going to do, and just to be tied up like that financially, to not know how to rescue your own family. And this money saved them. She was able to get out of that rent house. She lives now next door to her own mom who can help out with the grandkids, and there's just a lot more resources for her and her situation here in the city than when she was living out in Shawnee, and it's going to change their family. And I'm so grateful that I could help be a part of that, and that I know them, and this is something a whole lot more personal than just groceries in line or a fast food meal at a drive-through. And I think that that's the kind of stuff that we should be doing with this money that will really make a difference in someone's life, as opposed to, something generic. So.
For a lot of us, $200 might not sound like that big of an amount, but when you're in that kind of situation where you're just literally on the edge, that can make all the difference. Now, I noticed something new about you today.
What?
Sitting over here.
What?
Is that a real tattoo on the back of yours right there?
Yes. It's just a little heart right there, yes.
Show everybody your little secret.
Hold on.
Hey, what do you know? Sarah's going with tattoos now. All right.
That's not my only one.
It's not your only one? Okay, well, we don't want to see the other ones, I'm pretty sure. Okay, speaking of Sarah having secrets, okay, Kim, put the thing on the screen. I want everybody to try to say this 5 times real fast, okay? See if you can say that 5 times real fast, Sarah.
Sarah serves in secret as a sneaky seeker.
Have it just once, come on.
Sarah serves in secret as a sneaky seeker. Sarah serves in secret as a sneaky seeker. Sarah serves in secret as a sneaky seeker.
Let's hear it for Sarah. All right, good job. Thank you. All right, Sarah, good job, and she should be in the tattoo contest next time we have it. All right, well, the next couple is going to come up are people who are new to the Seeker Church, although we actually go way back together. I'll let them explain that a little bit. But let's welcome Dan and Lee Weber to the stage.
You don't want to sit next to Russ?
I don't think so. All right. Well, Dan, I'll let him give you all the info. But why don't you start off? Just most people haven't seen, because you guys haven't been coming, but a few months here. Why don't you just tell them a little bit about yourselves?
All right. Thanks, Russ, for the opportunity. Lee and I have been married for about 9 years. It's been great. We couldn't ask for anything better, right? Mm-hmm. We met at a birthday party for her brother, Bobby, and my friend Woody back in October of 1997. So if you do the math, that's what, 21 years ago? And we've only been married for 9. So we had a little bit of our courtship was long, but it was fun.
We'll take your word for it.
Yeah. And you fast forward to today. We're both retired. Lee, after doing 33 years of service at Tinker Air Force Base, and me with 29 years of service in the weather industry, where I built numerical prediction models at OU, at Tinker, with the Weather Service, and then with private company at the end there. We both know some people here at Seeker Church. We both know Donna from years back at New Life in Boyd and Berry. Lee met Patrick Steelman and Sarah from Tinker. And then I met Lee Williams a long time ago. And he's got a great career at OU, and most people at OU know Lee. So, we met Russ, obviously, and Jana years ago when we attended New Life.
So how was it that you guys came about to attend the Seeker Church, and kind of what does that have to do with our series, Building Better Relationships, to you guys?
Well, we kind of jumped the gun here. I'm not.
All right.
I'm sorry. I was like, that's the second page.
I was next.
Oh no, I was second page. We do have a daughter, a son-in-law, and Anara, our granddaughter, and the picture behind us shows them, and Felicity is Lee's natural daughter and my stepdaughter. So if you were doing the math there, that would straighten out that issue there. And we did bring Anara to Potluck Sunday, and that was a great experience for us and her. And we would have stayed and ate and had lunch with everybody, but we weren't sure how long she was going to stay on a good behavior. She's only 2. And being in a loud, somewhat loud new environment with lots of people, we weren't going to push our luck. We kind of forgot about it too, because we've been very busy doing other things. The last 7 days we've been out of town part of every week, and we really wanted to stay and meet everybody, but we didn't get a chance to do that. I'm originally from the Chicago area. I was born and raised in Libertyville, Illinois. Anybody know where that is? Hey, all right. Oh, okay. All right, great. Okay. And I was baptized a Methodist when I was about 10 years old, and that church was right behind our house, so we played in the churchyard all the time, and probably hit a few of those on that list that Russ showed earlier in that yard. Lee was baptized in her 30s in Midwest City, and is a member of the Meadowood Baptist Church in Midwest City. That's a nice Baptist church up there on Reno? Is it Reno? Yeah. So now, I guess I'm ready for...
So now, from that, we knew you back a long time ago, met you and stuff like that, and hadn't seen you for a while, and then you guys showed up here 3 months ago or so, and what prompted that, and how has that sort of moved you toward, kind of a different relational thing?
Yeah, there's 3 main things that we were looking for in a church, and I kind of drove this issue because Lee wanted to go to church, and so did I, but she was pushing it more than I was, but I had, and it took us a while to figure out what we really wanted out of a church, and that process evolved. What is it that you're looking for in a church? I don't know if you've ever asked yourselves that, but we did, and I like the small church environment. I really like the close-knit feeling that you can get from a small church environment. The large churches, they can be pretty noisy sometimes, and they have great resources, lots of people to help you try to get involved, but I've always felt better in a quiet setting. And a quiet setting in a church is not easy to obtain. I mean, we've attended many churches, as Lee will mention a little bit later, and there's been some loud ones where you haven't been able to hear the pastor when he's giving his speech or his lesson. So that was an issue for us, at least for me, probably more than for Lee. But the most important point 2, was that I wanted to hear a clear and concise message from the pastor. And Russ does a superb job of this, and that's why we're back primarily, is that he did a great job of providing guidance and spirituality in that. And as Russ said, Lee and I did attend the church, New Life Church, back in on Boyd and Berry back in '99, 2000, and it was in fact, from our perspective, you did a fantastic job. You may have been going crazy at that time, but you had seeker groups, which I was a part of the seeker group and the singles group, and we attended events, and that was an awesome experience, and it really got me turned on to learning more about God and trying to get closer to God. In fact, so much so that after I finished my PhD at OU in '97, we started attending a little bit right then, and I read the Bible from cover to cover in 6 months because I was so interested in learning about what this was all about for the second time around, really. And if you do the math, that's about 10 pages a day every day, in the NIV version at least. And that was the one that was easy for me to read, because the King James is hard, small print, everything. At least the copy I had. So it was a great read. And the message is the most important part. If it's clear, concise, it's pertinent, it really helps us with our relationship with God and others. And so that was point 2 is just awesome. It's the most important thing, and that's why we're here. The last issue I thought was important to me was friends and fellowship. Now, I saw we had when we attended New Life back in 2000, it was great. We had lots of friends there. We knew a lot of people. We were getting involved in groups, which it sounds like you might be forming a few small groups here or thinking about that. It's a lot of work, but it does get people involved. And that was a very unique experience. If we can get anything close to that, we'd be happy. But I have a feeling we're going to surpass that, because what I saw on the screen today was unbelievable. You had all these people here working, bleeding, putting in blood, sweat, and tears.
Primarily me.
Yeah, well, but I was just goosebumps on me just seeing what you folks have done already for this church, and how would we not want to be here is the question I ask myself. And so, and Russ and I went to lunch a couple months ago, and I kind of interviewed him because we weren't sure. We didn't know what happened up in Boyd and Bear or New Life up north there. And we were worried about going to a big church, and so we didn't actually follow him up there because we were concerned about it. And so Russ was very nice. He was very candid in that interview lunch, and we were very. I was very happy that I've never been able to get down and sit down with a pastor before for lunch. And he's very approachable, even though, contrary to, I think he's a changed man compared to what he would sound like you were earlier. You're much more open and.
I was there, but I was beat up.
Yeah, you were very preoccupied by lots of other stuff.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And then Russ was very nice. He opened up again to me and asked me to join and play basketball with his friends and son here, who's really good. Guy can shoot a three-pointer from way out.
He learned everything from me.
Yeah. But that's been awesome because I've been able to. He
surpassed me when he was like 11. I think.
I've been able to share in that friendship and fellowship with the people at playing basketball 3 times a week. I think, and they let a rusty old timer come into their little game, and it's been very awesome. I can't believe it. So I've been very happy about that. And the one thing that I'm looking forward to do, and for help from friends and fellowship with this church, is that I have a science background, obviously, in meteorology and geology and that kind of education. And I have questions about evolution versus creationism. And I'm hoping that I can get some help from everybody, and maybe Russ will do a series on it at some point. But
I need to do one. I haven't done one.
Oh, great.
Should do one.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. So.
Good luck.
Okay, Lee, what do you have to add to what some of the stuff Dan said?
Well, the main thing for me was finding a church that Dan would approve of and like. And as you can tell, he's a very detailed and analytical person, which is a good thing. Don't make it as a negative thing, because once he's researched it, analyzed it, and found it, all the questions have pretty much been answered. So far as questions, Russ, I'm really looking forward to you doing the evolution and creation because I have a hard time explaining it to him because it's faith. You walk by faith, not sight. And so, good luck.
I will do it. Remind me that tomorrow, and I'll write that down. I'll do it.
So, but for me, what I was looking for in a church was a relaxed atmosphere, someone that would show, teach the Word of God, and so that way I could and put it into respect of how I can use that every day in life, because I want to be able to be a more godly woman and let people see how I am and maybe how, like you were talking about earlier about what do you want to be known for. So I kind of would like to use those godly messages that you do to put it in my everyday life. And as Dan mentioned earlier, over the course of the last years or so, a few years, Dan and I have been attending many different churches in Norman, about 16 or more, and ranging anywhere from Mormon, Native American, Methodist, Baptist, Pentecostal. I mean, poor guy, I would just drag him all over the place. And the Native American one, I thought, they have Indian tacos. What can go wrong there? This will be great. Well, that's not really what it was. So let's just say it's been an interesting experience finding our way here, and it's been very good.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming up. I appreciate it. Good job, man. I'll see you tomorrow. Remind me about that. All right, we have one more person, and you guys have gotten to know her. She has begun to attend our church since right after we moved in this place, I think. Let's hear it from Nikki Willoughby. Come on up, Nikki. This is not Nikki Wannabe. This is Nikki Willoughby. She will be. All right, well, Nikki, thanks for doing this. Are you pretty nervous?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. No, not really.
I didn't think you were. I asked Nikki to just most of you guys have met her, seen her, but don't really know her story much. I thought we might just ask her to go back and just tell us about growing up, your family, what it was like. Did you guys attend church or anything like that?
Well, I grew up here since I was 6 years old. Parents got divorced, got moved. Oh, there's me. Right in that picture with my siblings is right when my parents got divorced. We moved to Ohio. Had some struggles there. My mom was dragging me to Methodist church. She forced me to get baptized there. When I came back, my grandma, growing up here, my great-grandparents, who in this picture, I guess on y'all's left, was a Southern Baptist. Growing up in Oklahoma in the Bible Belt, you're Southern Baptist, especially in the little town of Washington, Oklahoma. So that's how my grandma grew up. She took us to Northeast Baptist Church. It's a great church, great people. I, at the time, felt like, okay, this is it. This is where I want to be. I found a relationship with not only God, but my thing is a relationship with the people who also want a relationship with God. And so I got baptized there through my own choice, but some things happened. I wasn't feeling that relationship anymore, not with God. I still felt that, but not with the pastor and the youth pastor. I think churches, especially when I was that age, 9, 10 years old, I need to feel those relationships in order to feel closer to God, because those are godly people. They're who teach you about God. So I left that church, and I traveled to Journey churches. I went with some of my friends to Methodist churches. I have a Mormon friend. I went to Mormon churches. I mean, I just wanted to find a church where I felt home. And that was me. That was my thing, was a homely church. No matter how big, how small, I just wanted to feel at home.
And so we moved over here, and you were not living very far from here.
No, I actually lived...
How was it that you showed up?
Well, I lived 3 houses right across Berry, and I was walking back to Circle K every day, get my Polar Pop, and I saw you guys building the church, and I was like, at first I thought you guys were going to be another restaurant, and I got really excited. And then I found that it wasn't that. I was like, oh, okay, I guess that'll work. I was like, okay, I made a promise to myself. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go, because I missed that relationship I had with my relationship with God was not falling, but it wasn't the best it could be. And I wanted those relationships again with better myself with God and to better myself with other people who believe in God and stuff like that. So I woke up one Sunday morning. I was like, TV, I'm going to go to church. And so I came to church, wore my little cowboy boots. I was overdressed because I was in jeans and a really nice shirt and cowboy boots, and everyone's like, this is like, oh, okay, yeah. And I've been coming ever since.
So you came by yourself?
I did come by myself.
So how was that? How did you feel going to church by yourself and walking in here by yourself?
When I first walked through the doors, I kind of felt a sense of peace. And I've never felt that with wherever I was, no matter church, everywhere. It was just a sense of peace. And then you scared me with the whole snake thing, because...
Did I mention that to you?
You did.
Okay.
Like when we do the chicken sacrifices and the snakes are in the halls, I'm like, ah! No. Okay, well, this is my first and last time here.
But you stayed there,
I
right?
stayed
Okay.
against my better judgment. I'm just kidding. No, I stayed, and it's been home. This is a home to me. I'm grateful and I'm blessed. I feel at peace. My heart is at peace with having a better God relationship and having a relationship with everyone here. Being 22, looking for a church you feel at home is hard to find at this age, I feel like. And for me to be able to find it and your messages relating to me as a 22-year-old, it's the best. It's the best thing in the world.
So you feel like it impacted your spiritual life
did.
and just you personally in a pretty...
It did.
way.
I'm sure my friends and my family now can say when they first saw me, when I wasn't really going, but every once in a while, I was not off the rails, but I was more of a whatever you want to do, I don't really care about that kind of thing. But now I'm, okay, this is right, this is wrong, this is, I can't have plans on Sunday, I got church because I need to have a good relationship with God and just stuff like that. I feel like I'm a better person because I've started attending this church and my relationship with God has gone above and beyond mountains because of what you guys do here.
Well, we're thankful. Let's hear a big hand for Nikki showing up, being a part of our church. Thanks, Nikki. Well, I just want to end today by reminding you guys to think about what your aim in life is, what your dominant life principle is. What do you want to be known for? And these guys alluded to that in various ways throughout their talks. Both Sarah, Dan, and Lee, and Nikki all kind of alluded to things having to do with relationships, loving God, loving, yourself, loving and caring about other people. And that really is what it's all about, right? Let's stand. We'll have our closing prayer. Lord, I'm sure there are people here right now who are, for various reasons, in a burnout condition or a beat-up condition, the kind that I was 15 years ago in the most severe way. But Lord, I'm sure there are people here who different things are happening in their life where they feel, beaten down. They feel overwhelmed. They feel maybe they're numbing out to the needs of other people around them. They're even getting numb to the need for God in their life, maybe. Lord, I pray, all of us here pray for those that are struggling like that they would continue to try to look to you, that they wouldn't give up on you, and that they wouldn't give up on themselves, and they would see maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and they can emerge from the struggles they're in, and life can be really good again. Lord, for those of us that are in better shape, pray that we would look for those who are struggling and that we would express our concern and our love, and we would have open eyes to see, as Jesus did when he said, I look around and there's so many people, they're like sheep without a shepherd. They need love, they need concern, they need to understand God's word, and they need to feel God's love. And that, God, we would be the messengers of your love. You would bring your love into those tough situations that people are going through. Lord, I'm grateful for the chance to talk about this today and hear from these people. And I pray, God, that you would increase our level of love just by being reminded and hopefully inspired today to do so. And we pray that in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, everybody, we'll see you next week on Mother's Day. Thanks for coming. So long, everybody.